Hello Stampers and welcome to Laura's Stamp Pad. Today I wanted to show you this gorgeous card that I made with the Varied Vases stamp set, which is this one right here. So you can see how it's got all those fun little vases in both outlines, details, and solid images, as well as little flowers that you can put in the vases, trim, and some fabulous little greetings. So I love this stamp set because it has a little bit of decoration as well as a little bit of greetings to use. So it's kind of an all-in-one stamp set, and you know how much I love flowers, so of course I'm loving this one. So for this card, I actually got the concept out of the catalog directly. So it's always fun to use that as your inspiration or to just go ahead and encase the whole thing. Encasing stands for copy and share everything. So that's definitely my mentality when it comes to stamping. So I wanted to show you how I did all of these vases so neatly in a row there. And it was really simple, and I didn't have to stress about it on making sure I had them all lined up because I used the Stamparatus. So I want to show you how I created that using the Stamparatus. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus, which I'm going to show you. I actually have all of the pieces on there. There is all the ones for the vases and for the greetings. So I actually have double-sided on all of these clear sheets. So I don't have to actually move it. I can just stamp this multiple times. I actually used this in class and we never had to move them. So that was super, super fabulous for everyone to be able to stamp it nice and perfectly. So I actually have just a piece of regular scratch paper. This is a piece of printer paper that you can see I've used and threw away, but then pulled it back out of the trash to reuse it. I folded it in half. It is a perfect square. What I like to do is use this piece as my guideline. So whenever you're using photopolymer, you have to use the foam, so you don't actually have the grid lines there. So I just use a piece of scrap paper because it's super easy, and it covers up my foam so that I don't have to mess about that. And since you can't always put your images directly in the corner because you can't stamp that high up, you know, sometimes it doesn't come out even when it's close to the edges, then I just use this corner down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to line up my piece of cardstock, and I'm going to put this at the very top. So I actually have this lined up on the bottom and all the way to the edge, and I'm going to ink up the outlines of each of my vases. Now, the first time you do this, it does take a little bit of finesse, but you can always use a piece of scratch paper to get that first set down. Also, don't forget that there are grid lines on these clear sheets. I don't know how, oh, you can see them right there. There's the grid lines. You can also see my windows. So you can use those as a guide to make sure that your vases are nice and even. But once you have them set, you're all good to go. And there are my 3 vase outlines. And then now I'm actually going to move this to the outer corner here. And I have my solid vases up here. So for the solid vases, I couldn't do all 3 of them at the same time because I decided to do them in different colors. So because of that, I couldn't ink up all of them and have that middle one work. So instead, I'm going to ink up this outside one in Coastal Cabana, and then I'm going to ink up the other outside one in my Crushed Curry. And it's okay if you make a little bit of a mess on the outside because with the Stamparatus, you're not going to make a mess on your project. So I'm going to stamp this down, press, 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 scoot that forward again, stamp, press, 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 and then I actually used the middle vase. I just went ahead and stamped with a clear block. And so I didn't actually use the Stamparatus for that image. So I'm just going to line this up, and thank goodness, like I said, it's photopolymer, so it's really easy to be able to line those up and see those. So super, super fabulous. Next, I'm just going to take the little flower and ink it up in the Memento ink, and I need to actually move that and stamp it down. And then I actually colored that in with the yellow Stampin' Blends marker, which is why I used the Memento ink pad. So there we have that fabulous piece as our focal point. I did actually take the detailed trio punch and I rounded opposing corners here, and then I also tied some baker's twine on there. Now for the greeting down here, I did a very similar thing. So now I'm actually just going to pop this out, flip it around, pop it back in. Pop this one out, flip it around, and pop it back in. Now I'm going to take my little piece here and line it up right there on the end, and I'm going to put my magnet on the bottom side. Here's my magnet, and then first I'm going to do the border. So I'm just going to ink it up in the black, and of course if for some reason it doesn't come out in like a lot of ink or anything like that, no worries, you can always just ink it up again and stamp again. That's the awesome thing about the Stamparatus, is you don't have to worry about mistakes because you can easily stamp it all over again. So I'm just flipping it around to do that top border. And you might notice that it is offset, but that's okay because I'm actually going to trim it off on both ends. So there's no worries about that at all. And then now I'm just going to take the greeting, ink it up in Coastal Cabana, and sling it over. And there you have that fabulous greeting. So like I said, you can see that I'm missing some of the scallops here and up here, but when I go to put it in my project, I'm actually going to cover up this end and trim off this end. So that works perfectly. So that's how I was able to create this card using the Stamparatus and not having to move all my pieces around a million times, and also knowing that it's nice and straight and everything for both of the pieces. So this is great to make multiples with because you can just kind of ink it up and then close it over and just stamp, 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 and you're done in no time at all, knowing that those images are perfectly lined up. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial using the Stamparatus and the Varied Vases stamp set. Don't forget to check out my blog, laurastamppad.com, for more photos of this, as well as all the details on the rest of the card here. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all next time. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.